Hey everybody, welcome back to Vlogmas right here in the Because of Me Network. Hope you're doing well today, and it's day 8, and I figured I would share with you some of my favorite Christmas time music. Now, full disclosure, I am not a fan of Christmas music. I'm not a fan of the classics, I'm not a fan of the traditional, I'm not a fan of modern pop, except for these 3 songs, okay? And I like them because they are good songs, not just because they're about Christmas, okay? Does that make sense? So, I'm taking the fact that they are about Christmas on the table, but they are very, very good songs nonetheless, okay? And part of the reason that I'm doing this is because, those who know me, music is a big part of my life. I love music. I love listening to albums. I'm very late to the Spotify party, which means, I still buy physical media when it's appropriate. And yeah, so I think the last album I bought when I finally gave up looking for CDs was Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, Who Built the Moon. So it's been a while since I did it, but it's getting harder and harder to find physical media. So if anybody wants to buy me stuff for Christmas, vinyl, CDs, that would be wonderful. I would love you forever. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the original idea was talk about 5, and when I put my list together, I came up with 3. And technically 4 because I want to explain that when we get to the end. But I'm going to talk about in my opinion, the 3 best Christmas songs of all time. And my opinion is my opinion. Your opinion could be something else. A couple of them are problematic because of lyrics in one and the person involved in the other. Okay, so let me say before I get started that I'm not whitewashing or trying to ignore the problems with these songs, okay? I just want to say what they mean to me, and the issues that come up with them I will go into a little bit as best I can without getting, demonetized. And power block, it was a shadow banned, I think the word is power blocked. God, I'm so old. Alright, but let's begin. Okay, so yes, first on the list, number 3 in my ranking is Fairytale of New York. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal song. Now, for those who don't know my background, I've mentioned I was born and raised in Port Talbot in South Wales, but my stepdad on my dad's family is Irish. And so I grew up with a lot of Irish culture. I've been to Ireland a few times. I consider myself Welsh first, but if I had to give myself a second nationality, it'd be Welsh-Irish, okay? And even though I've got Irish blood way, way down the line, because Connolly is an Irish name, I still consider, I still don't have any direct Irishness in me, but, if I was to consider myself something, it'd be Welsh-Irish. Does that make sense? Okay. And this song is phenomenal. It really, really is. It has the musical spirit of Christmas without the jingle bells, which I love. I always love a good Christmas song that doesn't have jingle bells in there, which is a good start. It's an adult-themed song, so it's not, cheesy in the sense that we're going to talk about presents and trees and love. It's talking about 2 people's journey together from the beginning to the end. Yes, it does have some problematic lyrics in there that we consider now, and I'm not going to defend them. I'm just going to say that over that side of the world, where London and, was based, I don't think that was used as an insult in the 80s when the song was written, or a slur, excuse me. Insult's not a strong enough word, but I don't think it was. They still sell Mr. Brains in the UK, so it's a translational thing, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't know. I'm not going to go too deep into it, not because I don't want to, but because I don't know all the details and everything like that. But Kirsty MacColl, fantastic performance. Shane MacGowan, fantastic lyrics, fantastic, performance from him. It's just a real, real good song. And the reason I like this song as well is the parodies that I've heard of this song. The best one was done by Andrew Mangan and James McNicholas, also known as Arsblog and Gunnerblog. They did a thing called the Fairytale of North London, talking about Andrei Arshavin's time at Arsenal. And the first half of the song is when he when he joined the club and how he wanted to be the main man, and then it fell apart. And then it's the second half of the song's talking about that, but the chorus is really, really good. It says, "The fans still recall your 4-goal haul at Liverpool away, and the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day." A beautiful parody, beautiful. And yeah, but that's where this one comes in. This one comes in at number 3 because I think there are 2 better. So let's go to the next one. Another one with problematic roots, and I'll go into the problematic roots here in a minute, but yeah, John Lennon or the Plastic Ono Band, depending on which way you're looking at it these days, Happy Christmas, War is Over. As you know, war is not over. War is very, very prevalent these days. But it's a protest song, and John Lennon was good at writing protest songs when he left the Beatles. He really, really was. That first album was full of protest songs. And it's got the Christmas spirit into it. It's a very, very hopeful song, if anything else. It features a wonderful, wonderful choir. And it's one of those things where, yes, it's a Christmas song, but it's not a Christmas song, if that makes sense. So people who are dancing around making this a wonderful, wonderful Christmas time, blah, 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 missing the point of the song. The war is over if we want it. And I think a lot of people want peace. A lot of people want peace, but unfortunately, there's no money in peace. And a lot of people want to make a lot of money, and unfortunately, that means war. And it's a sad, sad state of the world right now that we got many wars going on in the Middle East, in Eastern Europe, and in Africa, and, Asia. I mean, there's war everywhere, and it's a little depressing when you don't believe in war, you believe in peace. And I think that's what this song gets about, The only problem I have with it is the hypocrisy of wanting peace for your man and love for your man coming from John Lennon. Now, look, today, ironically, I'm not here to dunk on John Lennon. Today is the 45th anniversary of his death. He did not deserve to be murdered. He did not. His views on peace and the world and everything like that are very, very valid even to this day. But John Lennon was a very, very flawed human being. He was nowhere near perfect. And, the way he treated his first wife and his son from that marriage, just, it rubs me the wrong way when I read about it and I hear stories about it. Because, I come from a place where I was more or less abandoned by my father figure, and yeah, so I'm gonna hush right there, but about my criticism of John Lennon, especially today, but at the same time, you can separate the art from the artist, I guess, in this situation, which is not a phrase I like using that often. But John Lennon was a phenomenal musician, and he did encapsulate the spirit of what that song meant. And it even had a decent performance from Yoko Ono in there, because Yoko's not the best singer, and I don't like to dunk on Yoko like a lot of other people do. They say she was responsible for the band breaking up, but I mean, Harrison had relationships with Lennon afterwards, and Starr had relationships with Lennon afterwards. You know what I mean? If Yoko was the reason, they would have stayed away from her. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, War is Over is number 2 on the best Christmas songs of all time. Now, why is this 1.5? I'll get to that here in a minute. But number 1, or 1.5, I guess you can say, is Slade's version, their original version, the original artist. I want to make that clear, which kind of hints as to where number 1 is going. But it's the original version of Merry Christmas, Everybody. It's a very, very... Okay. It describes life at Christmas, right? It's a cheesy Christmas song on the one hand, but on the other hand, it describes working man's life at Christmas. You're with your family, you have stockings up, you love one another and everything like that. And it's a very, very good tune as well. The music makes a song. You could have the best lyrics in the world, but if you put it to bad music, it's not going to work. And if you have the greatest song in the world, you put it to bad lyrics, it's not going to work either. So this kind of is one of those in the sweet spot of a real, real good song, real, real good tune, and a real good set of lyrics. Very, very descriptive, and you can picture it in your mind. This song has been a staple in the United Kingdom for many, many years. And, I think the band make more money off this in the Christmas period than they make off the rest of their back catalogue during the year, which is funny and sad at the same time. But then again, a lot of people don't know who Slade are. They are responsible for Come On Feel the Noise, the original version, not the stupid Quiet Riot version, which was absolutely horrendous. Or the Oasis version, which was a good cover, but not close to the original, But yeah, this song is very, very good. It's very, very heartwarming, and it reminds me of family, which is why it's 1.5. Because number one is "Oh Look," somebody said. He put an Oasis song at number one. How original, how refreshing. Now, before you write in the comments that's me showing bias, let me tell you a couple of things about why I think this is my favorite Christmas song. I don't think it's the best, but it's my favorite. And best and worst is subjective anyway. Unless you're talking about Christmas movies, then The Muppet Christmas Carol is the best, hands down. So, there was a TV show in the UK called The Royal Family, okay? It was a working class family who would spend all their time watching TV and talking and gossiping and treating their youngest son like garbage and treating the daughter like she was a princess and like garbage, and the husband treating the wife not the greatest, but, whatever, okay? But it was a real funny show, okay? And it was a snapshot into how working class United Kingdom families were, okay? And the pun of the name, the royal family, ha 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 ha, complete opposite to what the actual royal family are. The royal family's Southern and German, these guys are Northern and English, all that kind of stuff, right? And they licensed an Oasis song as their theme music, a song called Half the World Away. Now, the writers of the show, Caroline Aherne and Craig Cash, had connections to Oasis that were, Noel Gallagher and Caroline Aherne were good friends, and Craig Cash and Bonehead are allegedly cousins. I'm not entirely sure about that. That's been up and down in articles throughout the years. So, they had connections, and they used the song Half the World Away as their theme music, okay? And whenever I think of Half the World Away now, I think of home, And for the Christmas special in 2000, Oasis recorded a version of Merry Christmas Everybody in the same style as Half the World Away, okay, with the mellotron, the guitar, very minimalist drums, actually used percussion instead of drums, and it came out really good, okay, and so I like that song, I put it on the back burner, whatever, right, and then a few years ago, I watched The Royal Family again. Now, I say a few years ago, it was last year, actually, and it was just after my mother had passed, so I was feeling very homesick, and I wanted to reflect on stuff that made me feel closer to home, even if I was 4,000 miles away. Okay, and this version of Merry Christmas Everybody came through my TV, and I got my guitar out and I started playing it for a couple of times in a row. Because it's an easy song to follow if you follow the Noel Gallagher version or the Oasis version. This one brings the most to me because it's like a slideshow, right? Whenever I hear the lyrics, I picture my family. I picture my friends. I picture what I did growing up. I picture, the family I have now, the way we celebrate Christmas in Louisiana. It just, for me, it brings back a lot of memories. It's a very melancholic version as well as being very, very visual, So that's why I like this version better. It's because of the fact that, my favorite musician has nothing to do with it. It's more on the fact that the pictures in my mind are a lot more clear with this version, and it makes me feel emotion outside of Christmas, So that's why I think this is the best version, or this is the best Christmas song, or my favorite Christmas song, I should say, of all time. So, and that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow with something new. Until then, take it easy. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.